Welcome back, young explorers. Today, we're going on an incredible journey to the moon. Buckle up, because we're about to learn all about moon explorations, from the very first missions to what's happening today and what exciting adventures are planned for the future. Let's blast off. Our story begins in the 1950s, during a time known as the space race. This was when two powerful countries, the United States and the Soviet Union, now Russia, were competing to explore space. Everyone was dreaming about reaching the moon, but it wasn't easy. It took a lot of hard work, creativity, and new technology to even think about getting there. In 1959, the Soviet Union launched Lunar 2, the first spacecraft to reach the moon. It didn't land, but instead crashed into the moon's surface, proving that we could reach our lunar neighbor. This was the start of many missions to come. Now let's talk about some of the most famous missions to the moon. The most famous of all moon missions was Apollo 11, launched by NASA, the space agency of the United States. On July 20th, 1969, astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first humans to set foot on the moon. Neil Armstrong said the famous words, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." They spent about 2 hours and 15 minutes on the moon, exploring, collecting rocks and taking amazing pictures. After Apollo 11, NASA sent more missions to the moon. The Apollo program continued with Apollo 12, 14, 15, 16 and 17. These missions allowed astronauts to explore different parts of the moon, drive a lunar rover, a special car for the moon, and bring back more samples of moon rocks and soil. The last mission, Apollo 17, took place in 1972, and since then, no one has walked on the moon. The Soviet Union also continued exploring the moon with their lunar missions. They didn't send people, but they did send robots. Lunar 16, for example, was the first mission to bring back samples of moon soil using a robotic arm. So what's happening with moon exploration today? While humans haven't been back to the moon since Apollo 17, interest in our lunar neighbor has never faded. NASA launched the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, LRO, in 2009, a spacecraft that's been orbiting the moon, taking detailed pictures and helping scientists learn more about its surface. It's like a high-tech camera in space, capturing everything from craters to potential landing sites for future missions. China has been making big strides in moon exploration with its Chang'e missions. Chang'e 3 was the first Chinese spacecraft to land on the moon in 2013, and it even had a rover called U2 that explored the surface. Chang'e 4 made history in 2019 by being the first mission to land on the far side of the moon, which we never see from Earth. NASA is also working on a new program called Artemis, with plans to return humans to the moon. This time they want to explore more of the moon, including its south pole, where scientists believe there might be water ice. Artemis is also part of a bigger plan to prepare for human missions to Mars. The future of moon exploration is super exciting. After the first uncrewed Artemis 1 mission, NASA plans to send astronauts around the moon with Artemis II, and then land them on the moon with Artemis III. This will be the first time humans visit the moon in over 50 years. NASA and its international partners are also building a space station called the Lunar Gateway. This station will orbit the moon and serve as a base for astronauts to stay, work, and launch missions to the lunar surface. It's like a space camp near the moon. Private companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin are also planning to send missions to the moon. SpaceX's Starship could even help land astronauts on the moon as part of the Artemis program. Before we wrap up, here are some fun facts about the moon. The moon is about 384,400 kilometers, 238,855 miles, away from Earth. That's like driving around the Earth's equator almost 10 times. The moon has no atmosphere, which means there's no air to breathe and no sound. It's completely silent. The footprints left by the Apollo astronauts are still on the moon today, and they'll stay there for millions of years because there's no wind to blow them away. And there you have it, young explorers. From the first daring missions to the exciting plans for the future, the moon has always been a place of wonder and discovery. Who knows, maybe one day one of you will be the next astronaut to leave footprints on the moon. Keep dreaming big and see you next time for more space adventures.